Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well and that you're having a wonderful, relaxing, enjoyable weekend. I've had a good, relaxing weekend myself. I haven't really got through as much of my to-do list as I'd hoped, but I have definitely had a good time. So I'm going to talk primers this Sunday afternoon, and specifically I have got the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint, which I'm pretty sure I introduced to you in August when I was on holiday, when I received it and first started using it. And I've also since then, last month, bought the Chanel Glowing Makeup Primer. And I've had a good opportunity to use both of these actually. And so I thought it would be interesting to tell you my thoughts, compare and contrast. If you're interested specifically in these two products, I would also recommend Alison Chase's video, because she definitely looked at them both fairly recently, I think, and she's much better at talking about the perspective from a professional person who works with skincare and makeup and the ingredients and so on and so forth. I guess I wanted to say first of all that I'm really enjoying and valuing getting back to using a primer, which I don't know. I have a few primers in my arsenal. I guess I had got really only to using them in the evenings, to be honest, if I was going out for an evening, or I knew I was going to be photographed other than at work. I mean, we've all been photographed during COVID on video chats, but, you know, kind of more social photographs. Then I would use a primer to make my makeup look a little bit more professional. And my main concern with wearing a primer, or the thing that I'm trying to address by wearing a primer, is, I suppose, mainly minimizing the pore area. So giving myself a smoother canvas, but particularly in that area where I've got enlarged pores in my T-zone, the two sides of my nose and the crease of my chin particularly is where I've got the problems. I'm less interested in it making my makeup last longer, although that's definitely a bonus if I'm going out for the evening. And I very rarely bother about touch-ups with makeup, to be honest. I've got beyond all that stage. So that's kind of what I look for in a makeup. And somehow, again, it's one of those things during the pandemic that I just stopped using. I tend not to use primers a lot in the summer in any event, because I find wearing a heavier SPF, often a better moisturiser, all the hard work that your skin tends to do in the summer, I don't want to add yet another layer. So when I bought the Chantecaille Sheer Glow Rose Face Tint in the summer, that really kind of got me back into using primers, not just that one, but others. And I bought the Chantecaille, I'll be frank, as a result of seeing YouTubers talking about it. So effective advertising there, I guess. Now, first of all, what can we say about this? You're getting 30 grams in a hefty pot. It's expensive. It's, I believe, £70 on the Chantecaille website, which is where I had to buy mine from because I couldn't find it anywhere else at the time. In fact, it's cheaper on nearly every other website that has it. You get it for around 65 to 68 pounds. I think it's incredible. You actually pay more on Chantecaille's own website. Yet another reason to hate them. You know, I've got this love-hate relationship with Chantecaille. So bear in mind when we look at the Chanel, that's 30 grams, 70 quid. So it's an expensive primer. I've used it quite a lot, as I say. They do a kind of more tan looking one as well. I was attracted by the rosy glow. It's definitely a kind of jelly cream formula. I don't know that you're going to see very much on the back of the hand. A bit of the kind of pearlescent wet look that it gives. It kind of sits on the skin. It doesn't completely melt in. It's a really nice feel when you put it on, a definite cooling, soothing, smoothing feel. And so that was very nice in the summer. I could actually just put this on and maybe a bit of concealer, and that was it. So I wasn't really wearing it as a primer in the summer, and wearing it that way all over the face, I rather enjoyed it. Now, as a base for makeup, the first thing I would say is if you're going to put on a full kind of foundation, tinted moisturizer, pretty much all over the face, as opposed to maybe spot concealment, as I was doing over this, I honestly don't think you see the glow once you've put on another product, even if it's a light, not by any means full or even medium coverage. So the idea that you're getting that glow when you're using it properly as a base, I think, is nonsense. Did I think it helped with the pores? A little bit. Not completely is my answer. Did I feel it helped my makeup stay on? Yes, definitely. It gave a nice smooth canvas. And I did feel my makeup stayed in place a bit longer. So it did the job as far as that was concerned. Did I mention very faint rose smell? Not in any way offensive. I'm not a huge rose lover, and it didn't bother me at all. So I did and do enjoy this product, but I enjoy it primarily not as a primer in any way. And to be fair, they don't, say it is just a primer. They talk about it blurring and perfecting, and they call it a face tint. So it's much more than just a primer, and I would argue it's not really a primer at all. Now, that's not the case with the Chanel product. This is a new product. I saw this on the website when I was buying something else. I can't remember quite what. Probably Laid Tweed, actually, because I had those for a while before had that a while before I showed it you. In September. This is the Glowing Makeup Primer, which they describe as moisturising and plumping. So they make a lot of claims for this. It's glowing, it's moisturising. They talk about the hyaluronic acid plumping up your skin before you apply makeup. They talk about it giving radiance, and they talk about it blurring. So it's doing all those things that the Chantecaille one is claiming to, and they're very much saying this is a base, it's an illuminating base, and it's a primer. So they're pinning their colours to the mast. Now, this one is also 30 mils. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Because you kind of think, no, not mils, 30 grams. So we're not talking in the same, dear, I can't do the conversions. So this is 30 mils, that's 1 fluid ounce. This is 30 grams. Is that just over an ounce? Somebody who's much better at metrics and imperial than me is going to have to do that calculation. I'm clearly of the view that you're getting slightly less product here, but not a whole lot less. And this is £43, whether you buy it on the Chanel website or through one of their other carriers, as it were. It's always going to win for me in it that comes in a tube instead of a nasty, unhygienic pot. As you can see, it goes on very liquidy, more looking like a cream. And it hasn't got the kind of pearlized. It's got more of a kind of golden glow. It definitely has a glow. Almost, it's not a shimmer, but you can definitely see it catching the light on your face if you wear it just on its own. It feels nice going on the skin. It's got the typical Chanel skincare floral scent, if you're aware of that, but it's not in any way offensive, and I don't notice it after it's gone on. It feels nice, as cooling, as refreshing as the Chantecaille. You definitely could wear it on its own with the concealer, the way I do the Chantecaille. I would marginally prefer the Chantecaille look in that case because you get the very slight cool pinkness, whereas this is more of a kind of goldeny shininess, illumination. But I definitely prefer this one in terms of putting makeup on top. It definitely improves the application. I find I don't need as much of my, foundation product. In fact, I very much have to adjust the dot that I put on the back of my hand before I brush on whatever I'm using. It improves the last, and it definitely somewhat improves the appearance of pores. Neither of them do the job that my favourite primer of all time, that I am now cherishing because they don't make it anymore, the Tom Ford complexion enhancing primer, which really does a great job in blotting out my pores, and I keep it therefore for my fancy evening makeups when I really want to blur those pores. But it does, this Chanel base, have a definite blurring effect. So I'm really enjoying both of them, but I would have to say I prefer the Chanel one. Not just because it's cheaper, but because I think it is more multi-purpose. And I do think it looks marginally better, makes me look marginally better. I love using this now in conjunction with the Hermes blurring powder that I think I have spoken about. That's, definitely going to feature as, if not my favourite, one of my favourite products this year. That really does what it says on the tin, and does some serious blurring around the problem areas. So I do recommend the Chanel glowing makeup primer if you fancy trying a new primer. So there we go. Has anyone else got any new favourites out there? I will say last night I went out and I used one of my older primers, the Charlotte Tilbury Invisible UV Flawless Poreless Primer, which was kind of at the back of the drawer. I kind of found it when I was rooting around to see what primers I still did have. And I'd hardly used it, so I forgot what it was like. It's different from the other two because it's got very high SPF, so it's a definite summer one. Of course, I didn't bother taking it out this summer. But it doesn't, for me, actually leave me looking flawless, or much less poreless, for sure. And I also, interestingly, didn't feel it help my makeup last that long. I put my makeup on at 5 p.m. or so last night before going out, and was definitely looking the worse for wear when I came home just after midnight. I suppose that's 6-7 hours, so maybe I'm being a bit harsh. But yeah, there we go. I regretted not wearing the Chanel one. Not that it mattered that much. So I always look forward to your comments and hearing what primers, if any, you recommend. I hope you all have an excellent week. If you got to the end of this, a thumbs up is always very much appreciated. And until next time, bye for now.